first-generation college student from Oklahoma who graduated with a bachelor's degree in business administration and marketing with a minor in history from the University of Oklahoma. After completing his MBA at OU, Shane went to work for a Fortune 500 company in Tulsa before completing his PhD at Oklahoma State University. So he's both a Sooner and a Cowboy, and now an Aggie.
Absolutely.
Before joining Cameron, Shane was the Dean of the College of Business and a professor of marketing at both Arkansas State University and Idaho State University. Shane and his wife of 25 years, Jennifer, have 2 children, Andrew and Sarah, and they are thrilled to be home and part of the Cameron University family and the Southwest Oklahoma community. Dr. Hines.
Thank you very much. How's everybody doing today? Hey, it's a great day to be an Aggie.
That's right.
And it's an extra great day when we get to have that awesome chicken. I could eat that chicken all day. Thank you all for having me out. Thank you all for your service and for what you have made possible for our family and for all of us in the United States of America. I like to tell the story that the day I was born, and I did celebrate a birthday yesterday, so this is appropriate, but 50 years and 1 day ago when I was born, I like to tell people I won the lottery the day I was born because I was born with parents who loved me and I was born in the United States of America. And I won the lottery. And everyone in this room has made that lottery win possible for so many generations, including our kids. My dad served in the Army. My grandfather served in the Navy. And just so honored to be here. So I'm going to tell a little bit about that, about my background. But I got to start with when you tell the OU and OSU. So I got an undergraduate degree from OU, MBA from OU, PhD from Oklahoma State. And at least once a month, I have someone come up to me when that bio gets read. And they said, Shane, I wasn't going to ask you in front of the whole crowd, but I got to know, which team do you cheer for? Now, as any of you that have strong feelings on that question one way or the other, there's no good answer. You're just rolling the dice. And I add to it, I said, you know what? I said my wife of 26 years, Jennifer, is also a split degree. She got her undergraduate degree at Oklahoma State University, and then we met on the first day of MBA school 28 years ago. So Jennifer has an MBA from OU, and so I said, we're a whole family, like we can take this in. And I said, but I'm so glad you asked, because I'm proud to tell you the team that I cheer for is the Cameron Aggies. So that's who we cheer for. We'll let them do whatever they want to do. So thankful to be here. So I was talking to a couple of people today, just to give you a little bit of background. So I'm from Oklahoma. I grew up, I was born and raised in Southwest Oklahoma City. So I went to Westmore High School. We were having a conversation. I did not know we would have a discussion about Plaza Towers Elementary, but we did. We have a former Plaza Towers educator. I went to a nearby Kelly Elementary School, and a lot of people remember Plaza Towers from one of the tornadoes. But Kelly Elementary was actually the building that I went to elementary school was destroyed in the May 3rd, 1999 tornado that came through. So I went to Westmore High School, graduated, and no one in my family had ever gone to college. My dad, after he was in the Army, served in the United States Postal Service. My mom worked for a staffing service, and so no one in my family had gone to college. And I went to the University of Oklahoma, and people, my own children, have said, like, what process did you go through making that decision? And I said, there was no process. I applied to one school, which was the school closest to where my mom and dad lived. And went to OU, had a great experience, got an undergraduate degree, got an MBA. And, of course, the MBA was an amazing degree, but the best thing that happened is I met my now wife, like I said, of 26 years. And Jennifer and I got engaged before we finished MBA school, and we started our life in Tulsa. I went to work for the Williams Companies in Tulsa, and we spent the first 7 years of our married life there. Both of our children were born in Tulsa. And then I had the opportunity to get a PhD from Oklahoma State. And I will tell people all the time that I'm kind of an accidental professor. I'm certainly an accidental president, but I'm accidental in that I thought when I started, I loved working at Williams, and I thought We had a senior vice president of marketing whose name was Dr. I won't say his last name in case he's listening somewhere, but I never met him. But when he would get introduced, I always thought it was so cool that he was Dr. his name. And I thought, even if I don't know what I'm saying, if I'm Dr. Shane Hunt, that sounds like a smart guy. I can just show up at places. They'd be like, okay, go ahead and do your thing. And so I thought that's what I'm going to do. So I go to Oklahoma State. I'm going to get a PhD. Williams supports me in this. I'm like, I'm going to work. Basically, I'm going to be in Stillwater 3.5 days a week. I'm going to teach, classes there. I'm going to do my PhD work. But my thought is, when I finished and was Dr. Shane Hunt, I'd just go back to work at Williams and continue to advance through the company. Well, as I think God puts us where we're supposed to be, I go to Oklahoma State at the time of a budget crisis, which in higher ed, we have those every few years. But it was one of those, like 7 budget crises ago. I show up and they're like, Shane, we got to have you teach 2 classes your first semester as a PhD student. Now, they don't do this now. This is not a good practice. And it did not reassure me as a first-generation college student when they gave me a book and said, as long as you stay a week ahead of the students, you should be okay. This is terrifying. What are we doing? Honestly, what they told me at Oklahoma State. So I stayed, a couple weeks ahead. The other thing I remember about that first time when I taught, I put together what I thought was the greatest syllabus ever written. I had like 14 pages of assignments, and I'm dreaming up stuff, and I take it into the department chair. I still remember this. I take it into the department chair, who's since retired, and he just flips through it. And I'm waiting. It's one of those things where you're wanting feedback, but what you really think he's about to say is, Shay, this is the greatest syllabus I've ever read. You're a prodigy in writing syllabi. And he looks at it, he goes, and I'm thinking, and he's reading it so fast, I thought, well, maybe in PhD school they teach you to be a speed reader. Right? They let him promote that. Maybe we all learn how to just, I'm thinking, that's what he's doing. He just reads it that fast. He flips through it at the end, he goes, this looks great. And he goes, because of the budget crisis, he said syllabi can be a maximum of 1 page long. So, my first thought was I can put that in 2-point font, it'll be perfect, we'll have it all. So, but that first year at Oklahoma State, I taught those 2 classes in the fall, 2 classes in spring, and they don't do this now. So my son is going to PhD school this fall to be a marketing professor like his dad, and I'm so excited for that, for him. But they don't do that now, but I'm so glad that they did, because at the end of that first year, I remember coming home and telling Jennifer, my wife, I'm like getting to work with the students, getting to help the students, getting to talk about all kinds of interesting things. I said, this is the best job in the world. And came home and said, that's what I want to do, talk to the company. I stayed with the company until I finished my PhD in June of '07. And, but I told him years ahead, I said, I'm going to go be a professor when this ends. So the way it works in business schools is different in different disciplines, but in business schools you interview the summer before you finish. And so by the fall of 2000, I've interviewed with a bunch of schools the summer of 2006, fall of 2006, I accepted a job to go be an assistant professor, which is just a rank. You're a professor, so you're assistant, and usually when you get tenured, you're associate, and then later on you can be a full professor. I went to be a new marketing professor at Arkansas State University in Jonesboro, which is a city very much similar size as Lawton, Fort Sill, and had the opportunity to go there. We lived there 13 years. My first day as a professor was our son's first day of kindergarten.
Oh, wow.
And I said, that's part of what it is. When he told me, he came home and said, Dad, I think I want to be a marketing professor as well. I said, well, that's because every day of your known life you've heard me say I have the best job in the world. And spent 13 years there as professor, assistant associate full, and became dean of the business school. Had the chance to be dean of the business school, have an endowed professorship, and be vice provost at Idaho State, which is also in a city similar size as Lawton, Fort Sill, close to Yellowstone National Park. Got to tell my Yellowstone National Park story. So we live out in the west part of town, okay, is where we live. And when Jennifer and I, my wife and I, would always go when the Yellowstone roads, people may not know this, but at Yellowstone National Park, they close the roads November through April. You can't drive. You can take sleds or do other things, but you can't drive. So every year in May, Jennifer and I would go when the roads first open because you get to see like the baby bison and you get to see all the different things. And I love the bison, love the bison. And I remember we were there this last May before we moved in June. And I told Jennifer, I said, I'm so excited about everything at Cameron, about living in Long Fort Sill. I said, the only thing I'm sad is we're not going to be 2 hours away from bison. We're so close. And we get here, and even before I get to the refuge, so 10 minutes away, there are bison everywhere. We take people to see the bison all the time. But if you guys know, if you go to the west part of town, if you go up Dale Mission Road, the second day that I'm here, I turn, that's not far from my house, I come up that road, and the bison are as far from me as the wall. And I'm like, I'm right where I'm supposed to be. So, we love the buffalo, we love the bison, and we love being here. I would say my wife and I have 2 children. We have a son who's finishing his MBA at the University of Oklahoma, where his mom and I met, in May, and he will be starting PhD school in August. And our daughter is a sophomore marketing major at Arizona State University. But because of concurrent and AP classes, she's like a semester ahead. Didn't want to finish the semester ahead. So she's just taking 1 class this semester because she's doing the Disney College program in Orlando. So I'm extra excited because next week for part of spring break, my wife and I are going to go out and see her for a few days. She's been working really hard, doing great things out there. I start by just telling that backstory to say everything in my life is better, is enhanced, and I'm more thankful because of public higher education in the state of Oklahoma. There are so many people today, you guys give out these scholarships, which is amazing, and we thank you for that. And I think one of the challenges that we do sometimes in higher ed is we talk about things in the aggregate. We say, well, we have this many students, or we have this retention rate percentage, or we have this many people who do this or that, and all of those aggregate numbers we have to report, and all of those are important. But what I want to tell you is I wish you could see what I get to see every day, which is how those scholarships, or how the investments you all are making, or how the investments others in our community are making, are changing life by life by life by life. When I came to interview at Cameron, and we came down here, one of the things that I was struck by, I was blown away by how many amazing people we have. But what I was most struck by is how many students reminded me of myself. I was a first-generation college student who absolutely did not think that I was smart enough to go to college. I was a student who did not know that even if going to college, does this even work out on the other side? Like, is there a benefit to this? We didn't know how we were going to pay for it. We couldn't have done that without scholarship support and the things that you guys do. And I'm telling you, every day I can show you thousands of Cameron University students who are just like that. And one thing that I will tell you about young people today, and I'm sure you see this some with your family and friends, sometimes the last person to see how amazing that young person is, to realize how bright their future is themselves. And so being able to instill confidence. So when you do things like scholarships, it's not just the money that helps pay for college. It's a group of people who I don't know cares about me, believes in me, and wants to invest in what I'm doing. So thank you for that. It is an amazingly exciting time to be a Cameron University Aggie. So we've come in and we've been able to do so many things thanks to so many great supporters. So I will highlight a few of the things that we have done. So the first thing that I'm excited about is when I got here, I would go around to groups like this, and I would talk to people who are from Southwest Oklahoma, and I would say, if we could do one thing at Cameron, what would you want us to do? And I will tell you in a second what the number one most common answer is, but the second most common answer was football. So I get the football one, and I'd come up with different answers for football. And I got to tell the story. Some of you have heard this if you've heard me speak because it's so vivid in my mind. I went and did the Goodyear tour one day. And so Colby and everybody took me around Goodyear, had a great trip, amazing facility. And the young man who's giving out the security tags, you have to give him your driver's license. So I'm giving him my driver's license, and he looks at me and he said, "Hey," he said, "are you the new president of Cameron?" I said, "Yes, I am." He said, "I need your help with something." And I'm like, God's looking out for us again. I said, "Well, I want to help you with something." So I literally am reaching for my phone that has this trusty Cameron University card holder on the back. I'm taking my card out because I'm like, he's going to say, "Hey, I want to come back to school," or "I want to transfer classes in." And I'm like, I'm going to give him a great answer. And he goes, "I need your help as soon as possible." And I'm like, man, I'm so glad I'm here today at Goodyear. And I give him the card. I said, "What can I help you with?" And he says to me, he goes, "I need you to bring football back this year." And for whatever reason, in that one moment, I thought I had come up with a super witty answer to that comment. Literally in the 2 seconds that he says it, and I hand him the card, I say, "Well, you know, football's a really expensive sport to play."
That's right.
And I said, "So I'm pretty sure if we're going to play this year," I said, "you're going to have to play and I'm going to have to coach." And I was so proud. Like, it was kind of like, what a witty guy I am. And he does not miss a beat. And he says, "Mr. Hunt, I'm ready to play whenever you are." So I used that line one time and retired that. I mean, they don't need me signing up a football team from random places. But the number one answer that we got was, we need a 4-year bachelor's degree in engineering program here at Cameron. And I heard that from Fort Sill, I heard that from Vista, I heard that from Goodyear, I heard that from Halliburton and Duncan, I heard that from so many people. And so we spent a lot of time in the fall semester. So what happens every year in a university budget is you have a certain number of professors every year that retire, leave, stuff like that. What that gives us the chance every year to do, and that I think universities should do, and I think we'll talk about this from a higher landscape in a second, but I think universities should take that opportunity to roll faculty lines into demand fields that drive success in their region. So the University of Tulsa just named a new president Monday or Tuesday of this week. But I say that because my niece goes to the University of Tulsa. And I use them as an example. University of Tulsa is a great school. If you took Cameron University's campus, our beautiful campus, and you placed it in the same place that the University of Tulsa's campus is, it's still a great campus, it's still great people, but our mission should be different if we are in Midtown Tulsa than if we're in Southwest Oklahoma.
Right.
Engineering, agriculture, education, those are things that are going to be the lifeblood of Southwest Oklahoma long after we're all here. So we are not doing our job at Cameron if we are not meeting the needs of what I like to call the state of Cameron, right? I-40 over I-35, that corridor. And so at the heart of that is engineering. So we rolled retiring faculty lines, and we rolled those dollars to get a couple of more PhDs in mechanical engineering, and we were thrilled last month when we could announce that starting this August, for the first time in Cameron University history, we will be able to offer a 4-year bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. We're so excited. And I will tell you this, for any of you that have children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, friends, neighbors, I will tell you this. I have been a part of starting a number of programs, but I have never been a part of one that has been more warmly received and enthusiastically supported than this. What you can tell someone if they're thinking about it, I've said this to students, I have had, talk about the FISTA, a lot of you are familiar with the FISTA. 5 of the military defense, 5 of the 28 companies that are at the FISTA, just at the FISTA, this isn't Goodyear. Goodyear is like, we'll hire every mechanical engineer you graduate. 5 of the companies at FISTA have told me individually, not collectively, individually, we will hire every mechanical engineer you graduate. We will give every one of your students paid internships every summer that they want one.
Wow.
So we are really, like, we thought it would be well received, but I can tell you, I would be lying to you if I said I knew how successful this was going to be. So we've already had several students who are transferring back that have gone to other schools because we didn't offer engineering. I will just tell you the pent-up demand for engineering majors in Southwest Oklahoma is something that it is going to turn out awesome for these students. So wanted to highlight that what we're doing. We've done several other things. A lot of you are Cameron sports fans. You've seen some of the updates. We got some special money from the legislature to do some cool things. If you've been to our softball games, you've seen how much nicer the field is out there. If you've been to our basketball games this year, you notice the video boards and everything that we have, the new lighting. I joked before, I said the great thing is, even if we lost, you couldn't really see it, right? It was kind of dark. And so we wanted to make it much lighter, so we're really proud of that. Two things that we're super excited about that are kicking off right after the students, right after graduation. So May 8th is Cameron graduation. That night at 7:30 at the football field. We're going to pray for awesome weather that night. I said, how often do we have bad weather? And they said, about 2 years out of 10. And I thought, well, I'm going to pray it's one of the 8 this year. But if not, we'll do it in the gym the following day. But hopefully we'll have a wonderful evening on Friday night, May the 8th, and celebrate our wonderful students. I'm so excited for that. Right after we finish that, we are going to start significant construction on 2 projects. One is, if any of you lived in Shepler dorms, or had children or loved ones that lived in Shepler dorms, here's the awesome thing. You could walk in today and be like, Shane, it's like I never left, right? So for the first time, we are doing a massive renovation to that. That we got special money to do, so no debt involved. One of the things that we are in a really good situation at Cameron is that my predecessors and the folks that worked on the business side, there's a lot of university presidents that came into huge credit card debts that they had to pay that stuff off. We're in a position of we can come in and build and raise money and do things and move the university forward and provide opportunities for students. So Shepler will look dramatically different in 2027. All new bathrooms, new rooms, new furniture, new windows, and we're really excited for that because that helps with enrollment as well on what that is. The other thing is we've really made a commitment. I give the mayor a lot of credit for what he's done with STEM City. We do a lot of things with FISTA. I serve on the FISTA board, what we do there. But we've done a lot of things to enhance our STEM recruitment at Cameron. And so Howell Hall, if you've been to Howell Hall, so right after we get done with the semester, we will essentially gut Howell Hall. The outside will look the same, but that will become a state-of-the-art facility for all of our STEM programs, and we're excited about that. So we're looking forward to it. There's a lot of great things. I would love to answer any questions about anything. And I would just finish by telling this broadly higher education story. We will, I promise you, and you can hold me accountable. I hope you guys invite me back every year because I want to come back, all right? I may have less hair, but we'll keep coming back. But I hope we can come back and have this discussion because we will be accountable in saying we are going to evolve our curriculum and our programs to meet the needs of Southwest Oklahoma. To meet the needs of what our school districts need, to meet the needs of what our businesses need, to meet the needs of what our agriculture community needs, to meet the needs of what our military supporters and partners need. I think where higher education, and I say this as somebody who's proudly done this for 19 years, I will tell you where I think we've gone wrong is we have taken an approach of we're going to teach things the same way we've always taught them and do things the same way we've always done them. And I think as that changes, we've got to adapt to what it is. So I'll give you an example on just something we see. People ask me a lot about AI and how AI is impacting the job market, it's impacting higher education. And the truth is it's a fluid situation that we're all trying to get our mind around. I will tell you today the way that AI can generate essay responses. So I teach a class as president. I teach a sports marketing class, and we did our midterm Monday. And I would only today give in-class exams where people do them in class, so the students have got to write them. So I think there's things we're working through from a pedagogical and teaching standpoint. But I'll give you this example. Engineering, AI has had nothing but a positive impact on engineering. As I told you, we've got folks lined up to hire students. The reverse of that is computer science. Computer science, for the first 15 years that I was a professor, was basically like nursing. And nursing is still a place that if you're a nurse, you can literally throw a dart at a map and say, I'd like to live in Georgia, or I'd like to live in Delaware, or I'd like to live in California, or I'd like to live wherever, and they need nurses. Computer science was the same way. I will tell you, in the last year, that market has softened substantially. And there's still a market for it. There's still a lot of stuff. I think a lot of it will be positioned in the years ahead to more of a cybersecurity focus. But I also think that's something where we've got to react to that and respond. If we're a world where we're going to have 50 more engineers a decade from now that we produce every year, well, those resources have to be transferred to somewhere. And I think what happens is, in higher ed, you had a situation where I'm a marketing professor. Marketing professor leaves, we hire another marketing professor. Education professor leaves, we hire another education professor. I think we have to be strategic and say, how do we roll the resources to make sure, not everywhere in the U.S., but that we are meeting the needs of Southwest Oklahoma right here. So, with that, I would love to answer any questions.
Do you have any questions?
Football. Could I coach? No. My closest coaching experience was when I played video games against my son all those years. I lost most of those games.
What do you see, though, with the in-state league of universities as a being
Yeah, to put the NCAA Division II schools all in one conference in Oklahoma, is that what you're saying? So, it's a great question. I'll answer that in two ways. One, I will say, we are fortunate in Cameron. We are part of the Lone Star Conference. My wife and I went down to the Lone Star Conference basketball tournament in Frisco, Texas last weekend. Lone Star is, I think, the best Division II conference. And if it's not, it's very close to being that. And we are fortunate, West Texas A&M, the Texas A&M schools, Kingsville International, Midwestern State, which is obviously our closest rival, Oklahoma Christians in that. We very much like being in the Lone Star. But over the last year, there's been a lot of discussions about having there are essentially 10 NCAA Division II teams that are all within the state of Oklahoma. So us, Oklahoma Christian, Southeastern, Southwestern, UCO, Northwestern. And so I always say, my thought is, one, I think it's way better. I do not know. Well, let me back up. I'm going to tell you more to your question. I went to my first, we may not want to play this in the video. I went to my first NCAA president's meeting in January. And I will just say it's a fluid situation in the NCAA. But I think there are a lot of opportunities to play more regional rivals. So some of my colleagues at other schools, their big driving factor in that is the travel. The travel that's associated with this. I mean, we love being in the Lone Star, but to put our kids in, and people think about football, and we don't play football, but football, when you do play it, is the easiest sport to travel, because you leave Friday, you play Saturday, you come home Sunday, you don't miss class, it's not midweek travel. That's very different than sending a team of tennis players to Western New Mexico and Silver City, New Mexico. I think the bigger thing, in addition to the cost part of it, is I just think there's a lot of opportunity to play more regional rivalries. You know, when we play Oklahoma schools or we play Midwestern State, those are typically the largest crowds we have because people know people, they have that connection. I think there's a lot of discussion still from that. I think we will get more guidance from the legislature this session. My colleague Bo Hannaford's kind of led up that discussion of the 10 of us. I think there are other schools that could potentially be part of that within Oklahoma that maybe are playing NAI now or something like that. So I think there's a lot of positives. I think what the legislature has to work through is the infrastructure of what a conference is. So we could all vote to join, and I think we could work through the NCA things. The thing that we want to have is a solid conference that does streaming, that does all of the different peripheral things that you need support with. We need to have good people in place to do that. So I will tell you that will require an investment. And I think we will have guidance on what that looks like in the next 2 months. It's a great question. But I definitely think, like, we went up at Thanksgiving and watched Cameron play Southern Nazarene and play Southeastern in Bethany over Thanksgiving break. Like, that was a super great atmosphere. Rogers State came down from Northeast Oklahoma. All 4 of those would be 4 of those schools. But you had 4 Oklahoma schools, kids that competed against each other in high school. It was a really great atmosphere. And I would love to have a model where we could have more of that. Great question. Other questions? Yes, sir.
I was wondering if you have any, if you've had any serious conversations about developing a nonprofit leadership institute or center here at
Yes.
campus.
Yes. And I think that is something, that in the next year you will see. We've had a lot of discussions about this, so I, like a lot of you in this room, have served on a lot of nonprofit boards in my life. And I still tell the story all the time when we talk about this. Whether you're serving on a board, and I've probably had, all these years now I've been doing it, I've probably had 500 students go work for nonprofits. The level of preparation for the specific challenges and opportunities of the nonprofit sector, I don't think we in any way prepare people. Like, I showed up one day at a board and it's like, here's what we do. You kind of figure it out. I think to have some type of nonprofit leadership institute, to have some type of place that we hit on the different things, so governance, philanthropy, all of the different items, I think that's a huge thing. And I will tell you the driving part, right, if we go back to serving the Southwest Oklahoma Quadrant, there's no place in Southwest Oklahoma doing that. And kind of my comment was, that should be something that we take the lead on, because quite frankly, statistics vary, but between 10 and 20% of every one of our graduates is going to work for a nonprofit the next 3 years. So it's something that we need to be more focused on, and it would be my guess that if I come back a year from now, that's something that we've implemented in some way.
Well, Midwestern has a center in their campus.
Yeah, so in Oklahoma, so Midwestern has a great program that they have, and I think what they've built is really good, and I think something that looks like that is what we would want to do. And I think too, even if we didn't have the geographical thing, I just think that's something more schools need to do, because such a high percentage, honestly, if you took nonprofit as a sector, there's not many sectors, if any, at most schools that a higher percentage of students work in. Yeah. Great question. Yes, ma'am.
Engineering school is
Yes.
going to be fantastic, it's much needed. But I'm curious, since it's going into the CETUS building, will there still be a business incubator in there?
Yes, and we're looking at how that evolves. So the truth that I would tell you today, so we announced that for 3 weeks ago yesterday. That's hard to believe. I will tell you the response in the 3 weeks since we did that has led me to give you a slightly different answer than I would have 3 weeks ago. I think that there is a possibility, so we put the labs there, keep the incubator space there, which I was a business school dean for 8 years. I am a huge proponent of our need to drive and develop small businesses, right? I think physically, we may be in a situation where engineering grows at a clip that we look at how we readjust that. I don't know which of those two we would readjust, but if I said to you what I think the best version of Cameron 5 years ago, or 5 years from now, I think 5 years from now we're producing a lot more engineers, and I think we're producing a lot more people starting businesses. And so I don't know that we can necessarily do that all in the CETUS building. And I would be lying to you if I said we've had some preliminary discussions about what that might look like, but no final discussion on what that is. And again, a part of that is, I think just the student enrollment and the interest in engineering has exceeded a month in what we thought it would be. And so, you know, I don't think anything will change, so I think a year from now, that will still be very much the same. But I think if we look 2 or 3 years out, I think that's something that probably, if both of those are successful as one to be, one of those will be at a different physical location. That's a great question. Well, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for letting me be in Southwest Oklahoma. Go Aggies!
All right, thank you, Dr. Hunt, appreciate it. We do have some business to address today. I also want to bring you up to speed with events and issues relevant to our chapter. First, the business. I want to remind you that your donations to the Southwest Oklahoma Scholarship Fund are welcome year-round. We accept tax-deductible donations at any time. And I'd like to recognize one of our donors today, and that's Mike and Mary Eichinger. Here's your coin. Okay, so, and also speaking of scholarships, I informed you at our last chapter meeting in January that the executive board has decided to pursue opening a donor-designated fund with the Lawton Community Foundation to fund our chapter scholarships. This will be a long-term effort. We need $20,000 to get started. So far, we have raised, Dennis, how much have we raised toward the goal?
We have commitments for $17,700 to date.
Okay, and we need 20,000. So the board would like the chapter to approve transferring money from our chapter bank account into the donor designated fund. So what we would do, we would make up the difference of the 17,700 out of our bank account. Our current bank account, Rocky, we have what, $13,000. So what we're asking for is a motion to move $2,300 from that bank account into the donor designated fund.
I make a motion that we transfer the money into the scholarship fund.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Any discussion? Dennis?
Yeah, I would just like to interject a point. I still have some fundraising that I want to do. I would suggest we amend that when it's time that we approve an amount not to exceed $2,300. Because by the time I actually get the paperwork from the Lawton Community Foundation, I'm pretty sure we're going to have a little bit more.
Okay. So not to exceed, amend the motion. Pat, you amend the motion.
Amendment,
Okay.
and what we've discussed.
Mike, second. All right, any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, the motion carries. All right, now Dennis, you want to talk about this? Anything else you have to say?
Actually, you've covered everything that I would mention. We accept donations from individuals. I would just say if you want to be a founding contributor to the donor designated fund, just get with me and I'll gladly accept your check towards the overall goal.
And for those of you who are of a certain age, such as me and Zoe, if you have an IRA, you can make a qualified charitable deduction from your IRA, and it comes off the top. It doesn't count against your withdrawal for tax purposes. All right, your chapter continues to support veterans here in the community. In February, several of us went out to the Lawton Veterans Home and we conducted bingo with the residents there. We provided $150 in prize money, and we play the first game so that everybody wins at least $1. And but a couple of guys, I think there was one guy ended up winning about $30. So he was
It's a
lucky.
fun event. If you've never been, you should go. It's
Yeah.
really fun.
We're probably going to do it again in the fall. For those of you that get the weekly digital newsletter from National MOA and also the magazine, you'll know that April is Advocacy in Action Month. And that's where we go to lobby our members of Congress about veterans issues. So there are, if you look at that, there are certain things that are the priorities for MOA this year. One of them is the Shutdown Fairness Act, which would allow the Pentagon and the Department of Homeland Security to continue paying their members during the shutdown. We think that's a good thing to do. The other one is improve and enhance the Work Opportunity Tax Credit Act, which basically is targeting military spouses so that the program is intended to reduce the unemployment rate, such as military spouses, because they face the challenge of moving around. Another one is governing unaccredited representatives defrauding VA benefits. So apparently there are several fly-by-night organizations out there that will say, hey, you come to me and I will get you your VA benefits. The only problem is you have to give up some of your benefits to me for me to do it for you. So this act will keep that from happening. The other one is the Military Care Act, which is basically designed to report information about the TRICARE system and military health treatment facilities, make it easier for them to collect data. And then the other one is better access to your health care benefit, and the Veteran Caregiver Re-Education, Reemployment, and Retirement Act, which would covers career transition support for caregivers, veterans caregivers. So I urge you all to go to our website, swokmoaa.org, and you will see on that first page there's a Take Action button. And if you press that Take Action button, it will take you to the national website, and it will give you instructions on how to electronically communicate with both of our senators and Representative Cole, Congressman Cole, and tell him you want to weigh in on whatever of those acts you really feel like you want to talk about to them. Please do so. All right, 50-50 drawing.
There's a lot of pressure on this here. All right,
What's the amount this year, this time?
all right.
Okay, a smaller pot today. The total pot was $40, so the 50-50 winner is $20. And today's winner is 7230714. 0714.
Nobody's got it.
Oh, I have it.
Nice move.
Nice.
Well, I'm going to donate it to the Student Activities Fund.
That's true. Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
We'll find a good home.
All right, so we need to thank you to the fairgrounds today. I thought the meal was delicious. Thank you, Dr. Hunt, for your presentation. Let me remind you of some upcoming events. As you know, we give medals and certificates to both JROTC cadets and senior ROTC cadets at Cameron University. So the upcoming award ceremonies, and you're all invited to join me and Dr. Hunt for some of these, at least the one at Cameron.
Yep.
That'll be the 27th of March, so that's coming up pretty quickly at 10 o'clock. Lawton High School is going to be 0900 on the 16th of April, Eisenhower 0900 22 April, and MacArthur 0900 23 April. Our next general membership meeting is going to be 5:30 p.m. Tuesday the 12th of May, right here. We will recognize our local high school scholarship award winners. As you know, we give 6 of those out to local high school students, and our Cameron Leadership Award recipient, and give some of our own members their well-deserved awards. Beer and wine will be available for those of you that are over 21. So thanks again for coming today. Pastor Bill, if you will close us out with a prayer.
Let us pray. Gracious Father, we have been blessed this day with great food, with great information, great fellowship. Father, bless us now as we go our way back out into the community, as we continue to serve. And Father, we serve at your behest. Bless us now and keep us in your care. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you for having me.
Our meeting is adjourned.